The galaxy was plunged into fear and chaos. A ruthless alien force known as the Zorath had appeared from the depths of space. Their ships were enormous and their weapons deadly. Planets that had once thrived were now reduced to smoldering ruins. The Zorath attacked swiftly and without mercy. Whole civilizations were being wiped out. On the planet Vorta, a prominent alien leader named Zilra looked out at the burning sky. Her home, once a beacon of hope and prosperity, was now a battleground. The Zorath were relentless, and the Vortans were desperate. Zilra's heart sank as she saw the flames consume her people. She knew she had to do something, but what could she do against such overwhelming power? The Zorath were not just attacking, they were conquering. Planet after planet fell under their control. Alien species that had once boasted powerful armies were now powerless against the onslaught. The galaxy's defenders, once proud and strong, were scattered and defeated. Fear gripped the hearts of the survivors as they realized the extent of the Zorath's threat. As the situation grew worse, the leaders of different alien races gathered in secret. They knew they needed help, but who could possibly stand against the Zorath? They had heard of Earth, a small, relatively unknown planet on the edge of the galaxy. Humans had been considered insignificant by most advanced species. But now, with everything at stake, even the smallest hope had to be pursued. On Earth, leaders and scientists were puzzled when they received an urgent distress signal. The message was garbled and desperate. It spoke of a powerful alien threat and pleaded for aid. Many dismissed it as a hoax or an act of desperation. After all, why would Earth, with its primitive technology compared to the advanced civilizations of the galaxy, be able to help? But a few leaders saw something different. They saw a chance to make a difference, to be part of something larger than their world. Despite the doubts, they decided to respond. They gathered a team of brave soldiers and skilled scientists. The mission was risky, but it was their only option. The fate of countless lives depended on whether they could find a way to help. The human team prepared for their journey, knowing they were stepping into the unknown. They had limited knowledge of the galaxy's politics and the alien species they would encounter. Their technology was far from the cutting edge of galactic standards, but they had determination and courage. The journey would be dangerous, but they were driven by a sense of duty and hope. As the human ships left Earth, they entered a galaxy in turmoil. The once stable space lanes were now chaotic. The team could see the devastation from afar, the burning remnants of what used to be thriving worlds. They knew the gravity of their mission was immense. The alien leaders, who had barely managed to survive, awaited their arrival with a mix of hope and skepticism. When the humans finally arrived, they were met with a scene of devastation. Alien ships floated in the void, some damaged and others still burning. The once proud cities on planets were now in ruins. The team faced a harsh reality. The scale of the destruction was far greater than they had imagined. The aliens they met were frightened and unsure whether to trust these newcomers from a distant planet. Zilra, who had sent the distress signal, approached the humans with both hope and trepidation. She had seen too many allies fall and was not sure if these new arrivals would make a difference. But the sight of the humans, determined and ready to act, sparked a flicker of hope in her weary heart. The humans knew their task would be monumental. They were about to face an enemy that had defeated some of the galaxy's most powerful forces. But they were not about to give up. They had come to help, and help they would. The battle for the galaxy was just beginning, and the humans were ready to play their part. The human ships descended into the chaos of the galaxy. As they approached the planet Vorta, their sensors picked up the signs of destruction, shattered cities, burning forests, and the wreckage of battles long fought. The sight was sobering. The humans had come to help, but they were overwhelmed by the scale of the devastation. The leader of the human team, Commander Jake Harper, knew they had to make a good impression. The alien leaders who had summoned them were skeptical. If the humans failed to prove themselves, they would be dismissed as just another disappointment. As the human ships touched down on Vorta, they were met by a small delegation of alien representatives led by Zilra. Zilra's eyes were tired but hopeful. She had seen too many allies fall, and her own people were on the brink of collapse. As the humans emerged from their ships, Zilra and her team watched closely. The humans, in their standard uniforms and carrying advanced but simple equipment, looked small and out of place compared to the grandeur of the alien technology around them. The initial meeting was tense. Zilra's people were wary. They had witnessed countless promises from other races that had turned out to be empty. The humans explained their mission and offered their help, but the alien representatives were hesitant. They had to see action, not just words. Commander Harper, sensing the alien distrust, decided to act quickly. His team began assessing the damage and identifying potential threats. They set up a command center in the ruins of what used to be a grand alien city. The humans worked tirelessly, using their own technology to scan for weaknesses in the Zorath's defenses. They were determined to prove their worth. Meanwhile, Zilra and her advisors observed the humans' efforts with a mix of skepticism and curiosity. The aliens had long relied on their advanced technology, but it was clear that they had become complacent. They had lost their edge. The humans, though less advanced, brought a fresh perspective and a new approach. The human team quickly devised a plan to counter the Zorath. They focused on unconventional tactics that the aliens had never tried. They suggested using guerrilla warfare techniques, setting traps, and leveraging the environment to their advantage. The idea was to strike quickly and unpredictably, something the Zorath were not prepared for. The first few operations were small but successful. The humans carried out surprise attacks on Zorath supply lines and communication centers. The results were encouraging. The Zorath were thrown off balance, and the alien defenders began to see some relief. The humans' tactics were working, and hope started to flicker among the alien species. Zilra, witnessing these early victories, began to change her view of the humans. She saw their dedication and resourcefulness. The humans weren't just offering promises, they were taking real action. The tide of battle began to shift, and the aliens, once despondent, started to regain their courage. One day, as Zilra walked through the remains of her city, she came across a group of humans working on a makeshift repair station. They were fixing alien technology, adapting it with their own tools. She was impressed by their ingenuity and the way they quickly adapted to the alien tech. Zilra approached Commander Harper and thanked him for his team's efforts. The commander, though tired, responded with a determined smile. He reassured Zilra that they were committed to helping until the Zorath were defeated. The bond of trust between the humans and aliens began to strengthen. As days turned into weeks, the joint efforts between the humans and the alien species became more coordinated. The humans continued to lead daring raids against the Zorath, and the aliens provided valuable information and support. The once desperate plea for help had turned into a collaborative effort to save the galaxy. The humans were no longer seen as outsiders, but as allies. The trust and respect they had earned were crucial in the fight against the Zorath. The battle was far from over, but the arrival of the humans had brought a much-needed spark of hope to a galaxy on the brink of despair. The battle against the Zorath raged on, but something had shifted. The humans, with their unorthodox strategies, had started to make a noticeable impact. Commander Jake Harper and his team continued to work alongside the alien forces, and their combined efforts were beginning to turn the tide of the war. The Zorath had been caught off guard by the humans' approach. Their once unstoppable advance had slowed as the humans implemented their new tactics. Instead of facing direct assaults, the Zorath were now dealing with surprise attacks and guerrilla warfare. The humans used the element of surprise to their advantage, striking swiftly and disappearing before the Zorath could mount a counterattack. Zilra, who had initially doubted the humans, began to see their worth. She watched as the human team carried out daring raids on Zorath supply depots and communication hubs. Each successful operation boosted the morale of the alien defenders. The Zorath were no longer invincible, they were vulnerable, and the aliens were starting to believe they could win. One of the most successful missions was a night raid led by Sergeant Emily Hart, one of the top human soldiers. Her team infiltrated a heavily guarded Zorath base and managed to disable their main power source. The operation was risky, but it paid off. The Zorath forces were left in disarray, and the humans' reputation as effective fighters grew. The once skeptical alien leaders began to support the humans more openly. They provided them with additional resources and shared crucial intelligence about the Zorath's movements. This cooperation was key to the changing dynamics of the war. The humans and aliens worked together, blending their strengths to fight a common enemy. Meanwhile, Commander Harper and Zilra held regular strategy meetings. They reviewed battle reports and adjusted their plans based on the latest information. Zilra, now a firm believer in the humans' abilities, began to take a more active role in the joint efforts. She coordinated with other alien leaders and rallied their forces to fight alongside the humans. As the battles continued, the Zorath's losses mounted. The aliens started to push back, reclaiming lost territories and defending their worlds with renewed vigor. The tide of the war was visibly shifting. The Zorath's once overwhelming dominance was now being challenged. The humans' presence had become a turning point in the conflict. One notable victory came when the humans and aliens launched a coordinated assault on a major Zorath stronghold. The attack was meticulously planned, combining human guerrilla tactics with alien firepower. The Zorath, caught off guard, struggled to mount a defense. The battle was fierce, but the combined forces of humans and aliens eventually overcame the enemy. The aftermath of the assault was a clear sign of progress. The Zorath stronghold was in ruins and the survivors were retreating. The victory boosted the confidence of the alien defenders and solidified their faith in their human allies. The once despairing coalition now saw a future where they could push back the Zorath and reclaim their homes. Zilra, now a symbol of hope and determination, addressed the allied forces. She praised the humans for their bravery and innovation, acknowledging that their presence had been a game-changer. The humans, once considered a last resort, had become key players in the fight for survival. The turning tide was not just about military victories. It was also about the change in morale. The galaxy, once shrouded in fear and despair, was now filled with a sense of hope. The aliens and humans had formed a bond forged in the fires of battle. They were no longer just allies, they were a unified force fighting for their shared future. As the humans and aliens prepared for the next phase of their campaign, they knew the war was far from over. The Zorath were still a formidable enemy, and many battles lay ahead. But for the first time in a long while, there was a genuine sense of optimism. The combined strength of humanity and its allies was proving to be a powerful force against the darkness that had threatened to engulf the galaxy. The galaxy was now a battleground of hope and desperation. After weeks of fierce fighting, the final showdown with the Zorath loomed on the horizon. The allied forces, made up of humans and various alien species, were ready for the decisive clash. The previous victories had bolstered their spirits, but everyone knew that the biggest challenge was yet to come. Commander Jake Harper and Zilra stood together, overlooking the preparations for the final assault. The Allied forces were assembling their troops and resources for what would be the most crucial battle of their fight. The plan was bold and risky. They would strike at the heart of the Zorath's command center, hoping to cripple their leadership and turn the tide decisively. The Zorath had fortified their main base, which was situated on a heavily defended planet. It was a massive structure, bristling with weapons and protected by a complex network of shields. The Zorath leaders believed they were untouchable within their stronghold, but the humans and their allies were determined to prove them wrong. The night before the attack, the mood among the troops was a mix of nervousness and excitement. The aliens and humans, who had grown close during the campaign, shared stories and offered words of encouragement. There was a shared understanding that this battle would determine the fate of countless worlds. Commander Harper addressed the assembled forces. He spoke with conviction, reminding everyone of how far they had come and what was at stake. His words ignited a fire of resolve in the hearts of the soldiers. They knew this was their chance to end the war and save their homes from destruction. As dawn broke, the final assault began. The Allied forces launched a massive attack on the Zorath stronghold. Human ships led the charge, their sleek forms darting through enemy fire. Alien warships followed, unleashing powerful barrages that shook the Zorath defenses. The initial wave of the attack was a spectacle of fire and fury, a testament to the combined strength of the Alliance. The Zorath responded with fierce resistance. Their defensive systems activated, and their forces fought back with relentless aggression. The battle was chaotic and brutal. Ships exploded in the void, and the ground beneath the stronghold shook with the force of the conflict. Despite the chaos, the Allied forces pressed forward with determination. One of the key moments came when a team of human engineers working with alien tech experts managed to breach the Zorath's energy shield. The shield had been the linchpin of their defense, and breaking through it was crucial. The human and alien team worked under heavy fire, their efforts marked by a mix of courage and urgency. When the shield finally fell, it was a turning point in the battle. With the shield down, the Allied forces intensified their assault. The Zorath stronghold, once a symbol of their invincibility, began to crumble. The battle reached its climax as the Allied forces fought their way into the heart of the Zorath base. The human and alien soldiers fought side by side, their coordinated efforts overwhelming the Zorath defenders. Inside the command center, Commander Harper and Zilra led a final push. They fought through the corridors, their path marked by fierce combat. The Zorath leaders, realizing their situation was dire, tried to mount a last-ditch defense. But the combined might of the humans and aliens was too much. The Zorath leadership was finally defeated, and the command center fell into Allied hands. As the dust settled and the last echoes of battle faded, the reality of the victory began to sink in. The Zorath, once a terror to the galaxy, had been defeated. The Allied forces stood amidst the ruins of the stronghold, their exhaustion and relief palpable. They had fought bravely and achieved what many had thought impossible. Zilra, standing beside Commander Harper, looked out over the battlefield with a mixture of triumph and gratitude. The humans had proven themselves not just as allies, but as heroes. The final battle had been a test of their resolve, and they had emerged victorious. The galaxy had been saved from the brink of annihilation. The alliance of humans and aliens had proven that even in the darkest times, unity and courage could bring about the light of victory. As they began to rebuild and recover, there was a newfound sense of hope. The galaxy was no longer just a place of conflict and fear, it was a symbol of what could be achieved when different species came together to face a common threat. The battle was over, and the Zorath had been defeated. The galaxy, once shrouded in fear and destruction, was now filled with a sense of relief and hope. The humans and their alien allies had achieved the impossible. They had stood together against a seemingly invincible enemy and emerged victorious. In the aftermath of the climactic battle, the once feared Zorath stronghold lay in ruins. The Allied forces began the hard work of cleaning up and rebuilding. Commander Jake Harper and Zilra, now seen as symbols of hope and unity, worked tirelessly to help their people recover from the devastation. The victory had not come without a cost, and there was much work to be done. The galaxy's inhabitants were eager to rebuild their homes and restore their lives. The humans, who had once been considered insignificant, had proven their worth and forged strong bonds with the alien species they had helped. The trust and respect they had earned were invaluable in the new era that was beginning to take shape. Zilra, who had once been a leader of a planet on the brink of collapse, now found herself leading a coalition of species united by their shared struggle. The humans had become an integral part of this coalition, and their contributions were celebrated by all. The once divided galaxy was now coming together, united by their shared experience and newfound sense of camaraderie. Commander Harper and his team continued to work closely with their alien allies. They helped to establish new protocols for cooperation and mutual support. The technology and tactics developed during the war were shared openly, and new alliances were formed. The lessons learned from the conflict were applied to create a more secure and united galaxy. As the rebuilding efforts progressed, the people of the galaxy began to see signs of recovery. The cities that had been reduced to rubble were slowly being restored. The once devastated planets were being revitalized. The work was difficult and slow, but there was a palpable sense of optimism in the air. The galaxy had survived the darkest of times and was now looking forward to a brighter future. One of the most significant changes was the establishment of a new galactic council. This council, made up of representatives from various species, was created to ensure that the mistakes of the past were not repeated. The council's mission was to maintain peace and cooperation among the different worlds. The humans, who had once been outsiders, were now a key part of this governing body. Their perspective and experience were seen as valuable assets in shaping the future of the galaxy. The council held its first meeting in the heart of a newly reconstructed city. The atmosphere was filled with hope and determination. Zilra, now a respected leader, addressed the assembled representatives. She spoke of the unity and strength that had emerged from the conflict and emphasized the importance of working together to build a better future. Her words resonated with everyone present, and there was a shared commitment to creating a galaxy where peace and cooperation would prevail. Commander Harper looked out over the assembled representatives and felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The humans had come a long way from being viewed as insignificant. They had played a crucial role in saving the galaxy and had earned their place among the stars. The future was uncertain, but there was a shared belief that it would be one of progress and harmony. As the council meeting concluded, the representatives celebrated their newfound unity with a grand ceremony. The sky above was filled with lights and colors, a symbol of the new era that had dawned. The galaxy had been transformed from a place of fear and destruction to one of hope and renewal. The humans and their allies had faced the darkness together and had emerged stronger for it. The bonds they had forged during the conflict would continue to guide them as they worked to build a better future. The galaxy was no longer just a collection of distant worlds. It was a united community, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage and hope.